Next, we're going to discuss the digital divide and how that impacts society and our business. Digital divide describes a gap between those who have ready access to information and communication technology, as well as the skills to make use of that technology, and those who do not have access or skills to use those same technologies within a geographic area, society, or community. It is an economic and social inequality among groups of people. It is important to highlight that individuals need more than just the technological equipment to bridge the digital divide. They also need knowledge and training on how to use it. On a larger scale, there are a couple different factors we can discuss that create the digital divide. On a larger scale, the social economic status of an individual will impact the digital divide. Within the examination of the socio-economic status, inequalities are observed within access to resources and issues related to privilege, power, and control. Occupation, age, and location of residence are examples of factors that contribute to the digital divide. The occupation of an individual can play a role in their experience within the digital divide. For example, if a person is a farmer who chooses not to leverage technology on their family farm, they are limiting their own exposure to the benefits of the technology. Additionally, without assistance on how to leverage technology within their family farm, they will be highly unlikely to seek out this information on their own. Age can also play a role within the digital divide for individuals. For example, children these days are used to touchscreen devices, using Google Chromebooks for school, and using smartboards in the classroom. 30 years ago, touchscreen devices were not prevalent, typewriters were used in typing class, and blackboards or whiteboards were used in the classroom. Since our children have been exposed to this technology since they're very young, the knowledge and skill set around technology is greater than those who did not grow up with these technologies. Lastly, location of residence plays a big role in contributing to the digital divide. If a person is located in the area where internet is unavailable, they will be unable to connect to other individuals online. The consumers in these areas are unable to get internet, which also means social media may be difficult as well. As mentioned earlier, social media has played a larger role recently in the various sociological theories. By lacking internet options, these users will fail to progress along these theories as other online users will. As we discussed, the digital divide can be present for many reasons. One solution would be to simply provide every person with a computer and internet access. However, this is by no means a cost-effective option. Instead, focusing on social and economic programs is a viable option to help combat the digital divide. One thought process is leapfrogging. Leapfrogging is a concept that is discussed around bridging the gap within the digital divide. Leapfrogging recognizes the difficulty with trying to get everyone a computer and discusses potentially leapfrogging the computer and using other forms of technology to bridge the gap. Mobile devices are one example of a technology that allows this. By using a mobile device, users can gain some access to the digital world. Even as cell phones and tablets progress in technology, they still do not have all of the capabilities that a computer has. Additionally, children from disadvantaged backgrounds may access these devices in an unfocused manner, with less benefit to the educational components and less meaningful activity. While leapfrogging is a way to get technology into individuals' hands that might not normally have access to it, replacing a computer with a mobile device is not an ideal solution. Social and economic programs can also help bridge the gap between the digital divide. It is to focus on various social and economic programs such as internet classes, job assistance programs, and expanding access at local schools are a few examples of such programs. Holding weekly or monthly internet classes is one way that we can bridge the gap within the digital divide. These classes should be held at a public place and as a free service to the community. By making these classes open to anyone, there's a better chance of being able to reach more people and impact social classes that might not normally have access to this technology. Similar to the internet classes, a job assistance program would help assist individuals apply for jobs online. This is something that anyone can do at a place that offers public internet. However, applying for a job in a public place is not ideal. Having to enter in personal information, build a resume, and search for jobs may be difficult to do within an environment like this. By holding classes or offering assistance in applying for jobs online, we would be able to control the experience the applicant is getting, as well as help with skills that are needed to effectively apply for a job online if the applicant is lacking these skills. Schools with a high percentage of students with home internet access need to be proactive in providing internet access during the school day. Internet connectivity needs to be available where students work, both before and after school. Offering wireless access in study halls, the cafeteria, and the library throughout the day, some school districts serving large rural populations have added cellular wireless connectivity to school buses, creating rolling study halls for students as they ride to and from home, school, and their other activities. By offering internet options at school, we'll be able to address the digital divide at a younger age. Ideally, these students could then help teach their parents, family, and friends the skills they are learning in school themselves. Once again, we're going to define some theories that are impacted within this presentation. The conflict theory states that things happen because of competition for resources. In general, there is a power struggle between individuals or organizations, and those who have access to the most resources tend to be most successful. Once again, the symbolic interaction theory states that we apply common meanings to things that we see, hear, learn, etc. For example, in the United States, the American flag symbolizes freedom, independence, national loyalty, etc. This is something that the majority of the population who are born and raised in the country have come to understand as truth because that is what the flag symbolizes for them. Changes within organizations is necessary so that organizations can maintain their competitive advantage and thus be the most successful. In this case, the resources are the customer base because in order to maintain the customer base, organizations need to remain fresh, technologically advanced, and continue to be offer the most desirable products to our customers. Staying current with products and services that society wants requires that organizations change so that they do not become stagnant. In each example discussed in the following slide, the customer base is the desired customer. For example, if in an employee situation, the consumer is the high-quality employee that a business is trying to acquire. And in an education situation, the consumer is the business professional that is working full-time but still wants to pursue their degree. In each of these situations, the organization is trying to attract and grow its customers and customer base. By differentiating its product offerings, an organization will be more likely to be successful. More and more businesses are allowing employees to work from home or work remotely. In my company, our corporate headquarters are located in Chicago. In the past, if anyone was working at a corporate headquarters, the employee needed to live in the Chicagoland area. Due to this restriction, when positions would open up, there were limited applicants. Additionally, some well-qualified applicants would not apply because they did not want to have to move to the Chicago area for the open position. Due to these scenarios, companies become a lot more flexible in remote working options for employees. This has broadened the applicant pool when new positions are posted and has improved the overall talent pool for these new job openings. More and more colleges and universities are offering online degrees to their students. The addition of this option for students has greatly increased enrollment and graduation rates. Personally, I work in a retail environment and have to go to college or university campus to take a class in person to get my degree is not a viable option. I have wanted to finish my degree for many years, but could not find a program that was flexible enough for me to attend. Rasmussen College, for example, has created an online curriculum in which I can pursue my bachelor's degree without having to attend class in person. This option has allowed me to go back to school and pursue my degree. If not for this online option, I would still be thinking about pursuing my degree instead of pursuing it. One additional theory to talk about is functionalism. Functionalism interprets each part of society in terms of how it contributes to the stability of the whole society. Society is more than the sum of its parts. Rather, each part of society is functional for the stability of the whole. Within functionalist theory, the different parts of society are primarily composed of social institutions, each of which is designed to fill their different needs, and each of which has particular consequences for the form and shape of society. The parts all depend on each other. The core institutions are defined by sociology, and which are important to understanding for this theory include family, government, economy, media, education, and religion. According to functionalism, an institution only exists because it serves a vital role in the functioning of society. If it no longer serves a role, an institution will die away. When new needs evolve or emerge, new institutions will be created to meet them. Functionalism in action. Specific to organizations, the phrase of an institution only exists because it serves a vital role in the functioning of society is very important. If we adjust this statement and replace society with the consumer, and institution with business, we can find a direct correlation to the performance of a business based upon consumer need. I've worked in the cell phone industry for the past 14 years. When I started my degree, BlackBerry was the device that everyone wanted. Most every business owner or employee had a BlackBerry. We saw them on TV shows in the hands of politicians, athletes, and celebrities. Currently, BlackBerry is relatively non-existent. Within our organization, we have not sold a BlackBerry device for over 5 years. How did a brand so popular and reputable lose its share of the cell phone market? We're no longer serving a purpose for its consumers. With the emergence of the iOS and Android operating systems, consumers had more choices for devices. Additionally, BlackBerry was slow to move from physical keyboard to touchscreen device. These factors of competition, more consumer choices, and slow reaction to improve and change their devices all contributed to the change in market share of BlackBerry. It is also important to discuss the impact of technology on language. Overall, technology has impacted how quickly and with whom we communicate. We are able to get almost an immediate response through an email from someone on the other side of the world. Additionally, as technology continues to advance, we're getting more information available to us at almost any time we need it. Let's look at some examples of how technology has impacted language. One example is the telephone. In the mid-1800s, there were a group of men who invented a method of communication known as the telephone. Alexander Graham Bell is known as the father of the telephone because he designed the concept of the telephone. Telephones have undergone many technological advances over time. The telephone is now one of our most common methods of communication. We have progressed from an expensive service that was only available to some, to party line systems of calling, to rotary phones plugged into a wall, and now to cellular phones that are portable, battery operable, and can be used anywhere. Combined with telephone and technology advances in computer technology have helped us to communicate more efficiently. Computers used to be bulky and slow operating machines that were used for practical business purposes or cryptic games. Eventually, with the addition of the internet in the late 1900s, computers became an important tool for communication. The internet offered the opportunity to communicate virtually with people via email. Computers have evolved to be slim, sleek, and portable machines that are used not only for business or educational purposes, but are what many consider to be a critical part of the ability to function daily. Many people store databases of their personal and important information so it is safe and easily accessible, as opposed to keeping things on paper or filing cabinets. Additionally, computers help to simplify the preparation of documents. They allow us to connect to the internet, making large volumes of information readily available, have a storage capacity for convenience of saving materials, and insist in convenient communication with others. Smartphones are phones and computers combined. There are cellular phones that can access the internet and allow for information acquisition or communication via various methods at the push of a button. Smartphones have applications that allow face-to-face video calls, and they also have access to the internet. Having instantaneous access to the internet has helped our society have more immediate access to information. We can Google something and find information about any topic imaginable, whereas in the past, we would have to go to a library and research or look at encyclopedias. Additionally, smartphones provide the ability to make phone calls, access the internet, and conduct face-to-face video chats whenever and wherever we want. They enable convenience and affordability for users. And we can tie this back to our leapfrogging example of how an individual can use a smartphone versus a computer to improve their technology abilities. These are just a few of the technological advances that have helped communication change and become more efficient throughout our history. The number of advances that have enhanced our society are virtually countless.